Hey everybody, Happy New Year. I hope you've had a good holiday and a good new year and are getting back into the swing of things despite all the kind of craziness that's going on with COVID in the world right now. Things kind of got a little bit uh, worse here because the government has put more restrictions on us, and we can't have gatherings anymore, and there's curfew again, and at least I have guitar. So I figured one of the things I wanted to do, I don't know if you call this a New Year's resolution, but a practice I wanted to start in the new year was to give regular updates about my guitar progress, what I'm working on, what my practice routine looks like, maybe any new gear I get, those kinds of things. And see if I can't do that. I'm going to internally commit to trying to do that on a monthly basis and see how that goes. It's really important for me that this be sustainable because I really want to spend as much time as I can playing guitar and not making videos. So that's why I don't post super often. But I'm going to try to keep these fairly straightforward and hopefully easy to edit and low work. So we'll see how it goes. So let's see, where do we begin? I guess for those of you who are new here, I am 49 years old. I started playing guitar for the first time when I was 46. So in a couple months, I think perhaps the end of February, will mark my 3-year anniversary of learning the guitar. Really, it's the first time I've picked up any instrument. So I have no prior experience really. And I wanted to chronicle that on my YouTube channel and see how far I could take it. I have no aspirations of being a professional or anything like that, but I do have goals of eventually being able to jam with people and then maybe do a gig or two somewhere. And then after that, I don't know, we'll see. But so one step at a time. So right now I'm really focusing on getting up to a certain minimum level of proficiency that I can then take to a group of people to jam with. I think I'm pretty close now, and there's some prospects on the horizon, but with with all this stuff going on with the pandemic and the restrictions that the government has just enacted again, I'm going to have to wait before I can play with any of those ideas. So anyways, why don't we start with my current practice routine. I have these, if I'm looking off to the side here, it's because I made some notes about things I want to talk about and kind of prompt me as I go. So with regards to that, my routine. Now this might sound excessive to some of you depending on where you're at in your guitar journey, but I aim to practice 3 hours a day. And I say aim because I don't always get there. I probably can reach that goal maybe 4 or 5 days a week. And then the other days will either be, maybe an hour and a half. And, sometimes occasionally every couple of weeks I might take a day off. It's kind of fluid. But I'm very methodical in how I break down my practice session. And I've taken ideas from a number of different sources in how I do that. So the way I do it is I say 3 hours. What that really is 6 25-minute blocks with a 5-minute break. So I will never in any given session practice more than 25 minutes at a time. So I'll practice, if I were to be doing an hour and a half worth of practice, and that would be 3 sessions, so that'd be 25 minutes with a 5-minute break, minimum 5-minute break, depending on how much time I have. I might give it a little bit more. Then another 25 minute, then another break, then another 25 minute. And I typically break my practice up into 2 segments during the day. I'll typically do an hour and a half before I go to work, so after I get up, and then I will do an hour and a half in the evening. So I have the luxury of working from home. I don't have any commute. So that means that when I get up, I make myself a coffee and then I can start practicing. and then have a bit of time for breakfast after that, and then I go to my desk and start my workday. So not having a commute really helps out in that regard in reaching those practice goals. And then in the evening, usually I'll finish up work and then practice for maybe an hour, and then have supper, and then practice for a half an hour, and then have a little bit of time to just chill out before I go to bed. And it's really nice because it allows me to fill the time with things that I think are interesting and creative, and learning. If I didn't have guitar in my life right now, I would probably spend a lot more time doing things that are not great for me, like watching Netflix or playing video games. I enjoy those things, but I think I need other things in my life in order to kind of keep those activities to a reasonable amount. So yeah, so my 6 25-minute practice sessions are each divided into very purposeful sessions. So I will spend one 25-minute session working on theory. And so what I'm doing right now for that is I'm working through the Justin Guitar Theory course online. Just continue plugging away at that. It's a great course. I'm learning a lot, and I feel that the theory has really helped me a lot in my studies. And so I'm going to continue to do that and finish that course. And then after that, I'm not sure, I'll probably look at some other things theory related, and then maybe one day I'll get to the point where I'm like, well, you know what, that's enough theory, and then maybe I'll fill that slot with something else. But so for now, 25 minutes of theory. And then my next session, or another session, 25-minute session, would be, I call it scales and ear training, where I'm practicing scales. Some of it is practicing speed, so learning just repetitive muscle memory, building routines to gradually build the speed at which and accuracy at which I can do scales. Some of it will be learning a new scale. Right now, a new scale I'm working on is the natural minor scale, and then I try to spend like 5 to 10 minutes a day of my time working on ear training, and that's something recommended in the Justin Guitar program. And so I do that. I have his app right now. I'm using that app to kind of learn all the intervals and practice them, to be able to identify them by ear and find them on the fretboard. And the natural minor scale that I'm learning right now is part of the ear training that was recommended to me by a guitar instructor who thought that learning to identify those minor notes by ear along with doing the other ear training would be beneficial. So that's what I'm working on together for ear training. Another session, that 25-minute session that I'll do during the day, is just practice repertoire. So that would be songs in the past that I've learned, or things that I want to kind of keep fresh in my memory, get a little bit better at them over time. Whatever, just not really, that one's less prescribed, but it's songs, things I know. I'll do that for one of the sessions. The fourth session I will do is guitar lesson practice. Now, this past, summer of 2021, I started taking weekly guitar lessons with a local instructor. The goal of that was to sort of fill in the gaps with the things that I am currently learning online. I do most of my learning online and in a self-paced fashion, but I wanted to have some immediate feedback from somebody who was much better than I was, and who could maybe, show me things that I wouldn't be able to notice when I was watching videos or reading books. Somebody who could make little corrections and also just supplement the things that I'm working on. So I work closely with my guitar teacher to learn songs and various things that are complementary to the things that I'm learning on my own. So that's going well. So I'll spend one 25-minute session working through the material that my guitar instructor is having me work on. So lately that's been learning a couple songs. So that's my fourth session. So my fifth session is I am working on the Justin Guitar intermediate program, and I'm currently in the blues rhythm guitar module. And so I will spend a 25-minute session working on that module. So right now I'm at the part where I'm learning how to play 12-bar blues using seventh chords, dominant seventh chords, I guess. And so that's where I'm at in that process. And then the last thing, last 25-minute session I'll do is I'm working through a book on metal rhythm guitar, and I'm also actually working through another book on legato, which I spend very little time in legato. I just want to kind of pick away at that over time. I'm not really planning on learning lead guitar anytime soon. It's something I would like to learn eventually, but I would like to just start to familiarize myself with some of the legato techniques. And so I spend about 5 to 10 minutes a day working on legato, but I won't do that in my metal rhythm guitar session. I'll do that in maybe my theory session or something else. But anyway, so getting distracted. 25 minutes of the metal rhythm guitar course. And I like metal, I like rock, I like blues. I'm really interested in progressive music, and progressive music is creative ways, often has creative ways of combining various flavors. And so I want to have a decent foundation of metal along with all the other things I'm working on. And so therefore I'm working on this metal rhythm guitar stuff in parallel. Justin guitar program doesn't really go into that in depth, and it's something that I wanted to learn more about. So that's 6 sessions, 6 25-minute sessions over the course of the day. Now, in those 25-minute sessions, I will typically break my time up into 5-minute blocks. So I will practice a technique. So let's just say I am working on speed drills for the major scale. I'll do that for 5 minutes, and then when that's done, I'll work on another thing for 5 minutes, and then another thing for 5 minutes. So within a 25-minute session, I'll try to cover 3 to 5 things. So some things, if they take a little more time, I'll give 10 minutes, but it's always 5-minute blocks. I try to time box everything because it helps me mentally to, especially when you're learning something and you're making lots of mistakes or building strength in your hand. I find often, like especially we're working with bar chords and learning chord progressions and those kinds of things, or scales, that my hand can get tired. And so time boxing those things allows me to really focus on the exercise that I'm doing, knowing that it will be over soon. If I didn't have that end in sight, I think it would be a lot easier to get distracted and perhaps not cover all the things I want to cover. So I'm very intentional about how I split up my practice. So the 25-minute blocks, I guess it's a Pomodoro technique where you do 25 minutes followed by a 5-minute break and then 25 minutes. And then in those 25-minute blocks, I'm splitting them up into 5-minute to 10-minute blocks where I'm practicing specific things related to the theme of that block. So very methodical. I'm a geek, what can I say? But it works well for me. And I've been able to maintain this now for almost probably a year. Up until that point, I was not practicing that much, but it's been a gradual build up of the amount of time and stamina that I can have to practice. So when I first started practicing guitar, I'd practice for like 15 minutes a day, and then it kind of went up to 20 and 25 and then 30, and over the course of the 3 years, it's built up to where it is now at this 3-hour thing. I think that's sort of, at least at this stage in my life, probably about as sustainable as I can make it. I don't think I could add more time on there and realistically achieve it. I think that's enough for me. I got other things in my life that I want to do too. And so that is my practice routine. Hope you find that interesting. And if you have any questions about it, please ask. I'm happy to go into more details, but I've already talked about this long enough. And so we'll go from there and elaborate more if necessary in the future. So The other thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, is new gear. Yeah, everybody likes gear. I like gear. It's gear is fun. I have bought and sold so many things over the course of my guitar journey, even over these last 3 years, that it's probably embarrassing, but it's also fun. And I see the process as part of my learning process, figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what I like, what I don't like. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm often posting photos of new gear that I've acquired, but also know that many times as new gear is getting acquired, other gear is getting sold, and I don't actually have a ton of gear, but I have things that, gradually focusing in on the things that I like. So my recent new acquisitions, gear-wise, is so I have right now, I play guitar through a guitar modeler, which is a Fractal FM3, which I love. It took me a long time to get to that point, and I really liked it. I play it through studio monitors, but I have a day job as a computer guy, and I want to spend, like a programmer, and I want to spend my guitar time maybe twisting knobs a little more and a little less time in front of a screen. And so there's that. And the other thing is, I feel that there's a certain baseline assumption that you probably know a lot about guitar gear in order to really take good advantage of a modeler. And for me, coming from this as a complete beginner, I don't have that history with kinds of guitar gear. So I don't know what overdrive pedals are good or what aren't good, and what I like and what I don't like, and what combination you need to put things in to sound good. And so for me, I have decided that I want to start slowly collecting guitar pedals and experimenting with guitar pedals solely for the purpose of having the tactile experience and figuring out what I like and what I don't like, and what works and what doesn't work. And I find that easier to do with the pedal than I do in just staring at a computer screen, scrolling through menus and figuring out what things you want. So before Christmas, I decided that this was something I wanted to do. I'm still keeping my modeler, but my goal is to develop a solid understanding of the actual hardware, guitar pedals and systems that people use. And then when I use my modeler, I can go in there and program things that actually make sense and that I know that I'll like. Whereas right now it's a little more difficult. So in order to experiment with those things, I need an amp. And so this last December 2021, I bought an amp. I bought a Boss Nextone amp. I originally bought the Stage, which was nice, but after, before my 30-day return period, I decided to exchange it for the big kahuna, which is the Nextone Special. Mostly because I just wanted more knobs, and also I wanted it to sound really good. And the Nextone Stage sounds decent, but the Special sounds really good. And I want to be inspired by the sounds that I'm hearing from my guitar. And the Stage wasn't quite there, but the Special is in another league, so I'm really happy with that. It has, the Stage has MDF cabinet and just a regular Boss Nextone speaker, whereas the Special has a nice, solid plywood cabinet and a larger cabinet and a very nice, they call it the Bluebell Wazacraft speaker. Sounds really, really good, much better than the other one, and I think that this is going to be a great amp for me. The side bonus of that amp is it's got a nice effects loop, and so I think that it will work well for amplifying my modeler through the effects loop as well. I've played around a bit with that, and that seems to be quite good. So that was my amp acquisition, and I got the foot pedal with that as well, which allows you to change various things on the amp. It comes with some basic effects, not a lot, but delay and reverb and a boost and those kinds of things. So the foot pedal allows you to do that. And I got again over the last couple months a Rat pedal and a blues driver pedal. And right now I'm just experimenting a little bit with overdrives and figuring out what I like and what I don't. The amp itself has, a great clean channel and a lead channel that can get quite dirty, which I like a lot. But overdrive pedals can add various shades of flavor on top of that, and so I want to experiment and understand those better. And so it's been fun. It's actually nice to have these little pedals that you can experiment with and play with as you're practicing over time. Just kind of little dopamine hits of guitar pedal goodness that you can look forward to every so often, to kind of keep you motivated as you grind through some of the practicing that could be monotonous at times. But so that's it for the guitar gear. I guess one other interesting piece of equipment that I've acquired in the fall is that I purchased an iPad Pro. And this has been revolutionary for me in my guitar practice, especially with having to go to and from lessons where my guitar teacher is. I was finding myself carrying all kinds of papers with, guitar tabs and music and all kinds of stuff. And now I just have my iPad Pro. I got the Apple Pencil, and I'm using the Fourscore app, and I can put everything in there. All my notes, I can put in, my learning plan. I can put in tabs and music scores and all those kinds of things. And it has a built-in metronome and a built-in tuner. And, it's been life-changing for me in managing all the stuff that I have to, through all the things that I'm learning. It's really good. So that was a really nice purchase. So yeah, I guess that's it for the gear to talk about right now. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to mention? I can't think of anything right now. My guitar lessons are on pause right now because of the additional COVID restrictions, but I'm hoping in a couple weeks those will pick up again and I can go back to it. And as I mentioned earlier a little bit, or alluded to, I have met a couple people through local Facebook groups, a drummer and a bassist, who have indicated that they'd be interested in getting together to jam. So I'm really keen on that. We were almost going to schedule something for over the Christmas break, but that fell through and the government imposed a bunch of new restrictions. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we'll be able to do that soon, and hopefully I'll have some interesting experiences and learning opportunities that come through that, and hopefully I can tell you guys how that goes. So I guess that's all I want to talk about right now. I think that I will continue to post songs and music as I practice. So one of the goals here has been for me to learn things, and when I learn a song or a really nice chord progression, to record it, put it up here as my online recital in a sense. And so I'm pretty sporadic about that, and it's not because I'm not practicing, it's just because I'm not ready with something. So hopefully, and then next month or so, I'll have a couple more things to post music wise. So I guess that's it. If you have followed along this far, thank you very much. If you like this video, please like it, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm going to try, like I say, I'm going to try to keep up with these regular updates. This is the first one, and I look forward to hearing any suggestions, thoughts, questions in the comments that you guys have. And thanks a lot. Have a great January. Bye.